Order. Question
Mr. Speaker.
number 5, Andrew Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Social Housing and reads, what announcements has she made about how the government is supporting those in need of emergency housing?
The
Speaker.
Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, today I announced that $33 million that was allocated in Budget 16 to emergency housing will fund a total of 3,032 new and existing emergency housing places around the country per year. These places will make a huge difference to people in extreme housing need, and the targeted funding, the first of its kind, I would like to say, Mr. Speaker, by any government, means providers can now focus on the work that they do instead of the funding that they need. 350 of those places will be new and they will be available throughout the country.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Bailey.
Thank you. Which regions will benefit from the new funding?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
1,260, or over a third of the places, will be in Auckland, where there is the most need, but funding has also been given to 30 providers nationwide. For example, the Bay of Plenty is getting 112 places a year, 44 of which are new, and Northland is getting 364, 172 of which are new. In addition, the new special needs grants that people don't have to pay back has become available since July to those who can't access a place with an emergency housing provider.
Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
When she admits that only 350 of the places are new, how can she claim that is any kind of adequate response to the 42,000 Kiwis living in severe housing deprivation?
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that is 350 places that we didn't have before we did it, and we are now looking at all of those gaps. And as you've seen just this week, we've announced the new motel that we are purchasing that the member's been criticising, and we've got a whole lot of other new places that are coming through.
Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Andrew Bailey.
What else is the government doing to increase the supply of both emergency and social housing?
The
Well, Mr.
Honourable
Speaker,
Paula Bennett.
funding more than 3,000 places a year that haven't been funded before is a good place in this work program, but we've got a much wider comprehensive work program going on to get even more. I'm looking at how else we can increase supply for emergency housing, such as purchasing motels, a model which we've used in Christchurch for some time. We're also, of course, ramping up the supply of permanent housing and seeing at least 15 new come on every week.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
If the Minister had any idea as to what she was doing, why is it taking over 4 months since the budget to announce these sporadic measures in the hope that the massive problems she's created will go away?
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Well, Mr. Speaker, quite frankly, we made announcements for the first 16 providers within weeks of the budget, and now we've been working through those, many of whom have never been funded from the government. So, as the member I'm sure would appreciate, he would want to make sure that we're spending taxpayers' money wisely, and that's why we go through a comprehensive program to ensure it. But that member might like to congratulate Kaitaia that has had a whole lot of new supply come in, 35 places actually funded through this funding, making a difference for those that really need it.
Order. Question